In this video, I'm talking all about the Thermomix TM7 so that you can get the most out of your new machine. I'm going to talk you through all the accessories that come with the Thermomix when you buy it, what they are, how you use them, and I'm going to share a whole load of top tips that I have learned along the way after being a Thermomix owner for the past 11 years. Now, I started back in 2014 my Thermomix journey with the TM31. A few years later, upgraded to the TM6, and then I have had this Thermomix TM7 for a few months now. I've been putting it through its paces every day so that I can share with you today everything I know. My name is Marianne, and I am a recipe developer and food blogger over at the food blog Mama Loves to Cook. Over there, I share all my favorite recipes, including a whole load of Thermomix recipes. So I hope you head over there and check it out. If you're looking for more inspiration, I also have a Facebook page dedicated to the Thermomix. I have a Facebook group where people can ask questions, share inspiration, recipes that they've used. And I also have a weekly newsletter where I send Thermomix recipes and other recipes every Friday. I'm going to put all that information in the description down below so you can check it out. But for now, let's take a look at the Thermomix TM7. So when you get your Thermomix TM7, this is how it looks. It comes in several different parts. There are several different accessories that come, and we're going to go through them all one by one. So let's start by looking at the base unit. So I'm going to take the bowl off for now, and we're just looking at the base unit here. Now this is where all the magic happens. It has all the motor, all the electronics, everything that you need to make the Thermomix work is all in this base unit here. Now, the most important thing you need to know about this base unit is you cannot immerse it in water. You don't want water getting in. It will affect the motor, the electronics, everything, and your Thermomix will not work. So when we're cleaning it, just use a damp cloth and just give it a wipe down. Now, all the other accessories that I'm going to show you today, all of them can go in the dishwasher, but with the base unit, you need to be careful not to get it too wet. Now, when you unpack your unit, you're going to need to find a nice flat surface for it to sit on in your kitchen. A lot of people like to keep it in the corner of the kitchen. The good thing about this TM7 model compared to all the other Thermomix models before is it has a built-in slider foot, which means you can easily slide it around on your kitchen surface. So it's not too critical where it is because it's easy to move around. What you do need to make sure is is that you don't store it too close to a heat source. So I'm talking like your hob, don't leave it too close to your hob. And also you want it to be in quite a well ventilated area. You don't want to be putting it underneath like kitchen cabinets because when you're cooking with it, steam can rise and you're going to get damp on the underside of the cabinets that can then drip down onto your unit. So somewhere stable and with a flat surface so that the scales work properly, well ventilated and not near a heat source. Now, the most prominent feature of the base unit is obviously this screen. It's a very large screen. It works like a tablet, a touch screen. You control everything on this screen, all the different modes, all the speeds, the temperature, everything is done via this screen. And we're going to take a closer look at the screen and all the modes on this a bit later on in the video. Now let's take a look at the bowl. Now this is the bowl for the Thermomix. It's shaped like a jug, but we do call it the mixing bowl. And it comes in different parts. So you've got the lid with the lid cap. And then the bowl itself comes in 3 different parts. You've got the blade, which is that does the chopping and mixing. You've got the bowl itself. And then you have the insulated shell to the bowl. Now you're going to need to know how to assemble and disassemble the bowl. It's pretty straightforward. You take the insulated shell, you place the bowl. You can see the dark line down here that lines up with the handle on the bowl, and it just slots in like that. Then you can see at the bottom, there is that hole at the bottom there. That's where you fit the blade. It just slots in there. And then on the side, you've got a little slider here. And all you need to do is to pull that, and that locks the blade into place. Then you have the lid. Now you can see there are little vents in the lid, and that allows steam to escape while it's cooking. It also means that when you're making some recipes, for example, if you want to make mayonnaise and you need to pour oil in as it's stirring, you can just pour it onto the lid and it will seep through the holes in the lid. And then there's a lid cap that sits on top that covers up those holes for blending and for cooking when you don't want too much steam to escape. Now let's take a little look at the blade a bit closer. So to take it out, you just unclip there and it just comes out. Now the blade is quite a clever design. It's designed, it turns, it will turn in one direction to chop and to stir, and it will rotate in reverse for when you want to stir without chopping. Now, for example, if you want to make something like a risotto, where you're going to be stirring it for around 15-20 minutes, you don't want that blade cutting through the rice. You're going to end up with a big mush. So in situations like that, there is a reverse mode on the Thermomix. You put it into reverse, and it means that the blunt side will be rotating fast so that it doesn't chop as it turns. Now let's talk about cleaning your bowl. It's really important that you keep this bowl really clean and that you clean it properly so that food doesn't get built up underneath the blade or anything like that. Now the Thermomix does come with a pre-clean mode. We'll take a look at that a bit later, but it's a mode that you can half fill the bowl with water, add a drop of washing up liquid, and then you run it on the clean mode. Usually this will be enough to get most of the bowl clean. You just need to give it a quick rinse after that, and it's all clean. Sometimes if you're cooking something like a risotto or a cheese sauce or something that gets a bit more stuck to the bottom of the bowl, you're going to need to give it a bit of an extra clean. Now, everything can go into the dishwasher, so you pull it apart and you can put all these different bits into the dishwasher, that's fine. But I do also recommend giving it a good scrub yourself sometimes. Now, every time you want to clean the bowl, I highly recommend taking it completely apart, especially taking the blade out and giving it a good clean underneath. Now, if you look at the blade, there's this little seal here. Food can get caught underneath. Food also often gets stuck around the whole bit there, which sits underneath that seal. So if you're not taking the blade out every time after you use it to clean it, you're going to end up with food stuck under there, which will obviously end up being a bit gross after a while. So I highly recommend taking it apart every single time, either put it in the dishwasher or give it a good clean yourself. Now, there's a couple of accessories that I recommend for doing this. Firstly, there is the Thermomix cleaning brush. Now you can see it looks a bit like a toilet brush. It's actually, this one is from the Thermomix shop. It's specially designed for cleaning the Thermomix bowl. However, you can just go and buy a cheap toilet brush from the supermarket or whatever. It will do the same thing. The most important thing is that it is round, so it makes it easier just to go around the bowl and give that a good scrub with that. So I do recommend getting a brush like this. The other brush I really recommend is a small one like this one, which I bought from the Thermomix shop again. But you can also buy straw brushes like this from home stores or online. But this one is a bit harder than the straw brush, and it's specially designed to get underneath those blades. If you're cooking with dough or something really sticky, you will find that things get stuck underneath the blade, and these little brushes are specially designed to get under there and get everything out. The next accessory we're going to look at is the simmering basket. Now, the simmering basket looks like this, and it is specially designed to fit inside the Thermomix bowl. You can use it for simmering or steaming things inside the bowl. So you put water in the bottom of the bowl, you get it heated up, and the steam will rise or the water will rise to allow you to cook things inside the bowl. And this means that they're not going to be touched by the blade as they're cooking. The spatula that comes with the Thermomix is specially designed to act as a handle for the simmering basket so that you don't need to lift it out with your hands, which obviously you don't want to be doing when it's hot. It just slots in. You can see there's got a little hook there, and that just slots into the bowl like that so that you can use it with a handle. Also handy, you can also use this just as a sieve or a colander, and again, you can use the handle there. So let's talk a bit more about that spatula. So as I've said, it's specially designed so that you can use it as a handle for your simmering basket. It's also designed so that you can lift the lid on the simmering basket using the tip of the spatula. It also has on the bottom a little bit that's designed for turning the blade. On the bottom of the Thermomix, it fits on the bowl so that you can turn the blade. And this is kind of designed for releasing dough from the bowl. So it's a very clever design. However, personally, as a spatula, I don't rate it very highly. As you can see, it's not very flexible at all when you compare it with a silicone spatula that's very flexible. For this reason, I find that it's not great for getting around the blades if you are trying to scrape out cookie dough or cake batter. I don't find it gets under the blades very well. So for that reason, I always recommend people order a set of silicone spatulas. These are the ones I have. It's a set of 3. They're made by Wilton. You can buy them online. They get underneath the blades much more easily, and I think are much more efficient as a spatula. Another accessory that comes with your Thermomix is the butterfly whisk. Now, the butterfly whisk is designed as a whisk, so you can use it for whisking egg whites, whipping cream, things like that. And it fits inside the bowl on top of the blades like that. Now, it's designed to, if you have a look at your Thermomix blades, you will see that not all the blades are an equal height. One is higher than the others, one is lower than the others. When you put your butterfly whisk into the Thermomix, you are supposed to put it between the highest blade and the lowest blade, which means that it sits on the blunt side of the highest blade. It just slots in there, sits like that, and then it just turns with the blade. The most important thing about the butterfly whisk is you should never use it above speed 4. As you can see, it's not very securely fastened. It just kind of sits on top of the blade. If you use it above speed 4, there is a chance it could flip off and then it will get chopped up by the blade. So you do not want to be doing that. And the final accessory we're going to look at is the Varoma. Now, this is what we use for steaming in the Thermomix. It comes in 3 parts. So we have the base unit here. You can see there's holes in there to allow the steam through for steaming things. If you need more space, there's also a tray that sits on top of that. This allows you more space, but it also means you can do multi-layered steaming. So you could put vegetables in the bottom, fish on the top or something like that. And then it has a lid. And it's designed to go on top of the Thermomix bowl. So the lid goes on without the lid cap, because we need the holes for the steam to rise. And the Varoma just sits on top of the bowl like that. To use it, there is a specific steaming mode. So we go to the modes and we click on steaming. We're going to put water into the bowl, around 500 milliliters to a liter of water in there. And then we set the timer on here. It's set to 10 minutes. If you want, you can make it to 15 minutes, however long your recipe requires. And then you simply hit the play button, the go button, and it will steam automatically for you. Now, one thing to note, if you're using a recipe, you might see that it tells you to set the temperature to Varoma. Now, on previous models, when you used the Varoma for steaming, there was a temperature called Varoma, as well as the accessory being called Varoma. It was a little bit confusing. And so on the TM7, there is no Varoma setting. They just have a steaming setting. So you don't need to worry too much about that. But if you do come across a recipe where it tells you to set the temperature to Varoma, all it means is you need to go to the steaming mode, and that's doing the same thing. Now let's take a closer look at the screen. As I said earlier, the screen is how you operate the entire Thermomix, so you're going to need to spend some time getting to know it. When you first get your machine and you switch it on, you'll be taken through the whole setup process, which you can add change all your preferences, things like whether you want it to be imperial or metric measurements. You can change how loud the sound is on the Thermomix. There's a whole load of different settings that you can go through. It also allows you to log on to your home Wi-Fi. And that will give you access to Cookidoo, which is the Thermomix platform, where you can access something like 60,000 guided recipes. My recommendation is that you first set up your account for Cookidoo, either on your phone or your laptop or something that's not the machine. Set up your account there. And then when you switch your machine on, you can log in to your account that you've already created, and then the two will be linked. I also find that the Cookidoo app is really much more user-friendly than trying to find things on the machine. So if you're looking for inspiration or anything, I prefer to go through my app. On your app, on your phone, you can save things. You can put them into your want to cook or cook today or cook this week folders. And then that will automatically update on your machine at home. Perfect. Okay, let's take a look at Cookidoo. So in your machine, you have all, like I said, you have access, provided you sign up to Cookidoo. It's not free. I think it's around 50 Australian dollars a year. I'm not entirely sure about that. I did just renew mine. But it does give you access to like 60,000 guided recipes. So you can scroll through, you can search for recipes, you can look at trending recipes. You will, like I said, you can put things into folders and you'll find recently made recipes all in different places. So let's take a look at how it works. Let's say we want to make a pulled pork burger. So there it is. Now you can scroll down and you will find all your ingredients there. And then you'll find all the instructions at the bottom and some tips. There's also the option to add notes. So let's say that you make this one time, but you decide, oh, it's a little bit sweet for me. Next time you can put a note to make to let yourself know next time you make it that you found it a little bit sweet and to change it. There's also all your nutrition information, etc., etc. Okay, once you're ready to start cooking, you will press start, and it's going to take you step by step through how to make the recipe. So first it's going to tell you to add 1 garlic clove. So it's telling me take the lid off, add a garlic clove, and then I'm going to go next. And then it's going to tell me to put the lid on, and it's going to already be set up. It's going to chop for 5 seconds, speed 7. All I need to do is to press the start button. And then once that's done, we'll go on to the next stage. Step by step, you can't go wrong. Okay, let's have a look at some of the other modes. So I'm going into the mode setting here, and there are, I think, 20 different functions on the Thermomix. So there's lots of different modes that you can get to know. I'm not going to go through all of them here. I'm just going to highlight some of them. Pre-clean mode, everybody's favorite mode. As I said earlier, this allows you to quickly and easily clean the bowl with the machine doing all the work for you. It doesn't work 100% all the time, but it's a great starting point. And on the TM7, you get 5 different cleaning modes, depending on whether you just want a quick wash for 2 minutes, universal mode, one specifically for dough, one specifically for browning, and one specifically for if you're using fat or caramel. They just work slightly differently. The dough mode is another favorite of mine for making bread dough, pizza dough. You just put all your ingredients in there, you set the time on it, and you hit go, and it does all the kneading for you. All the hard work of making bread dough is all done for you in the Thermomix. The steaming mode we already looked at with the Varoma. There's a blend mode, egg boiler, slow cook, thicken for making custards and things, fermentation for making things like yogurt. You can sous vide. There are, at the bottom, there are 4 modes: peeler, grating, slicing, and spiralizing. To use those, you will need to buy separate accessories for the Thermomix. You can't use them just as it is. And the other mode I wanted to highlight is the open cooking mode. Now, this is a new mode for the Thermomix TM7. It wasn't available on previous models. Previous models, the way that the machine was designed is it had these little arms that locked the lid into place. With the TM7, that locking mechanism is all done inside the machine. And it's been designed that when you're cooking, you can actually take the lid off while you're cooking, as long as the blade is going speed 2 or less. You can take a look inside, and then the machine will the blade will automatically stop turning. And then you put the lid back on and you start it again. But it also has this mode called open cooking that allows you to use just like it's a saucepan. The blades will not rotate while it's in open cooking. You can put it to a maximum of 120 degrees. Right, let's look at manual cooking. So this is when you are going to follow perhaps a recipe you found online or in a book, not a recipe that's in Cookidoo. This is how I do the majority of my cooking, I have to say. So let's take a look. Now, when you read a recipe, a Thermomix recipe, it will generally be, when it tells you what steps to take, the order that it will tell you to do things in is generally time, temperature, speed. And that's the way that it's set out on the machine here. So you've got your time, your temperature, and your speed. Now, you control all of this on the screen by scrolling up and down. At the bottom, you will notice there are these quick go buttons. So you can add a minute, add 5 minutes, add 30 minutes, or reset. And the same goes for the temperature. There's a preset 50 degrees, 80 degrees, 90 degrees, 100 degrees. So you can just quickly say 5 minutes, 90 degrees, and then speed 2, and then you press the go button. There is also, now we talked earlier about the blade, how it rotates one way or the other, and when it rotates in reverse, it is not chopping because it's going on the blunt side forward. That is controlled here on the speed bit. There is a little button there that has a picture of a blade. If you press that, it comes up saying knife direction reverse enabled, and it will be in green that it's in reverse. Also within this screen, you have the scales so that you can weigh directly on manual mode. You just hit the little scales button there. And then as you add things into the bowl, it will tell you how much is in there here. if you've put in something and then you want to add the next item, you just hit the tear button. It will take it back to 0, and then you can add more things. Another little tip that you can just use the Thermomix as kitchen scales. So can you see here, because I've put the lid on, it's gone up to 335 grams. So I'm just going to hit the tear button and it goes back to 0. So if you're not cooking, you just want to use the Thermomix as kitchen scales, you can just place a bowl on top of the lid, weigh into that, and use it just as kitchen scales. And that is the Thermomix TM7. I hope you found this video useful. If you have any questions or anything else you want to know, please feel free to reach out. I'm all over social media. You can email me through my website. You can join my Facebook group. Come and find me on Instagram, whatever works for you. I hope this was useful, and I will see you either on socials or in the next video. Thanks for watching.